hour and 10 minutes. I don't know what's up with that. Okay. Oh, let me close out of that. Okay, that should be fine. Okay. Close out of one more thing over here. Sorry, I thought I closed out all this stuff. Okay. All right, we should be good to go here. Pop the stream back up. We'll see how many viewers I get today. I know that I am starting it late today. I was really trying to get all the grades done. I got almost all of them sent out. So this is going to be a short stream, which is probably fine for a lot of people. And then mostly just talking about just sort of end of the semester stuff and just keeping y'all up to date with some policy changes and deadlines and stuff like that. And then we'll just really quickly hit on the strategy section, and then we'll just move on off of that. Did I send the emails out? Let me make sure I sent those out. Okay, I need to send those out. Okay. So we can get our 2 people that want to watch. Okay. Alright, but anyways, let's go through this really quickly. This one will probably be a very fast stream. You know, probably, I don't know, 20 minutes, something like that. 15, 20 minutes, maybe less. And then I'm just going to give you guys a lot of time just to work on Project 5, or if you do want to make up some daily writings, or if you still need to finish up Project 4, just to give you some time to get stuff done. I know it is a very busy time of the semester for pretty much everybody down the stretch, so I'll try to keep this one relatively short. Okay, so I did send out grade reports I got most of them done, and after the stream is finished, I'll send out the rest of them. I still do need to put some comments on P4, so I'm going to finish those over the next couple of days, but I do want to make sure that I get you these grade reports just so that you can make a good decision about the deadline tomorrow for choosing whether or not you want to take the course SNC or W. Okay, so that grade report's going to be pretty standard. It's going to have all of the essay grades that I have. If you did not submit an essay, then it's a 0. If you did a rough draft and attended a conference but didn't submit a final draft, I'll give you all the points for that. So 25 points. If you were missing a strategy section, you would get a 0 for that section. So usually that's like 25 points or so. On P4, it's 25. So yeah, I just kind of took everything. You know, if it's just not there, it's not there. So if you do want to turn it in late, you can still get partial credit. You know, I have dramatically reduced late penalties across the board. Most late things, I'm really just, even if it's like a month or 2 late, I'm really just, you know, taxing it maybe like 5% or less. Usually a lot less than that, depending on the thing. So I'm trying to be as lenient as I can. There has to be some kind of penalty for being late. For Project 4, I said I would waive the penalty. But if you're still trying to turn in, you know, Project 2, Project 3, Project 1, you know, stuff like that, there's a small late penalty on there, but, you know, you can still probably pass if you turn stuff in. I don't think anyone is in serious danger of failing that has submitted, that just has turned anything in. Like, if you turn something in for the major assignments and you don't have, like, you know, 15 absences or something, then you're probably, like, going to be able to pass. It can't be 15. It can be up to 7. Although, realistically, if you're on the 7 and you're really close, I still have to give you the 3% penalty for absences. But I'm not just going to fail people outright for it. Okay, so anyways, let's talk about some of these adjustments, just in case you missed some of the last few lectures, just to kind of reiterate and cover everything that's been going on here. Okay, so you should have that grade report. If you don't have it, just give me until 4. If you don't have it by 4, then just email me. I should have all of them sent out by 4. And then all makeup work. So if you want to do any revisions or submit essays you have not yet submitted, remember you can do revisions for you know, some extra points back. It doesn't replace the initial, but you know, you can get quite a few points back if you turn in a high quality revision. And then I told you last time you can do any daily writings that you're missing. Now that's partially what has taken me so long this afternoon and really over the last few days is a lot of people have submitted late essays and they've submitted a lot of daily writing, and they want to know what's still missing, but a lot of people did not label it correctly. As I said, and I talked about this at the very beginning of the semester, you remember I said exactly this. If it comes down to near the end of the semester and you're wondering what you're missing, it's going to be harder for both of us to track it down if you don't label it properly. Well, that's what's happening with a lot of people that are submitting this late stuff. So I have to try to figure out what is what. Some people submit stuff that's like untitled documents, or they'll have a dash in there somewhere with their labeling, or sometimes they put the 0 like right next to the letters. So they'll say like, 0426 and then just start writing daily writing, and then sometimes they have a space there. It's just been kind of a mess to try to track down some of these daily writings because they're not in chronological order and they're not labeled correctly a lot of times. And then I have to go through and like read them to make sure that people are on topic, and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a lot of record keeping with kind of the flood of stuff that's coming in. So that's great. I'm happy people are turning stuff in. I really, really want people to pass this course. I'm doing everything I can to try to help you guys pass. I mean, what other professor does this, right? Like, you didn't turn stuff in for months. Go ahead, turn it in. Minor penalty. You didn't do your homework or your in-class writing. You missed a million classes. No problem. Go ahead, make up the work, turn it in. I'm trying to do everything I can to ethically allow you guys to be able to pass this class. And if you think about comparing this to like a chemistry class or a calculus class, or anything like that, I hope you'll find me very reasonable, if not too reasonable, in some circumstances. But anyways, all that stuff is due by Friday at midnight. I have to submit my final grades for everything the following Monday at 8 a.m. And if I get a flood of stuff, it could take me several days to get through all that. And all the Project 5s are due. So I already have to grade all the Project 5s and any revisions and any daily writings in like 3 days. So it's going to be a pretty wild 3 days. But that's the very last possible minute you can turn stuff in. Okay? Some people already submitted their final P5 draft, and I just went ahead and graded it, and just told them, whatever their grade was. Obviously, the people that are that far ahead of the game got a really high grade in the class, but anyways. So I'll give you as much visibility if you want. If you want to turn in P5 early, just email me, let me know, and then I can go ahead and just tell you your whole grade on the course right on the spot, and then you can just think about if you need to do any revisions or daily writings down the line, you can do that. If you're still not satisfied, you still do revisions, you still turn stuff in, then if it's before the deadline, you can keep turning more stuff in. You can keep doing more and more revisions and just, keep doing stuff until you get to a grade that you're comfortable with, probably. The people that are kind of in the dire, like impossible situations are people that checked out, a month ago and just haven't attended any classes or turned anything in, and they're just not interested, passing the course. Yes, that's right, Jeff. 5/1 is the last day that you can turn in stuff. So that's not this Friday, but next Friday. So you still have 10 days. I say midnight if it's, if you have a bunch of crazy finals and stuff, just by Saturday morning. But I really, they are serious about this. It is after all the finals. That's by design. That's after everybody's finals. So I did that on purpose. Friday, I believe, is a day when there are no finals. So that should be, yeah. I did that just for you, Jeff, and for other people that are interested. Yeah, so I timed that specifically so that you can do all of your finals and then, just devote Friday to catching up with stuff if you need to catch up, kind of at the last minute. But yeah, you can even take till, Saturday morning and get it in if you want to. But I really have to have this stuff in because I have to have it all graded. Okay. So that's the last day to turn stuff in. Once again, you can do any of the daily writings, any revisions, any Project 5, or Project 5 is due on that date at the last minute. And then if you don't know what you're missing or you're not sure which days you were absent as far as the daily writing and absences go, then just email me, let me know. I can go figure it out. That's my job. I might be a little, if you don't have proper labeling, I might grumble a little bit about it because it's going to take me, 10 or 15 minutes per person to sort through all that stuff. But But I'll do it for you. You know, that's my job. I'm happy to do it for you. I do want to see you succeed. I would be much happier if people labeled it correctly. And there are people that do. It's not everybody that didn't. And I know that y'all are super busy too, and you know, probably all your professors want stuff organized a different way and all this. So I get it. I'm not mad. I'm just tired. I'm just tired from going through all that stuff. But anyways, I will do that for you. So don't be scared. Don't be ashamed. Even if you don't have it labeled correctly, just let me know, and I will hunt down and let you know exactly what you need to do. And it's all right there. The daily notes are still all there. You know, we have a copy of all of that. You have the syllabus, and you can just find the daily notes for the day that you're missing it. Go through, read the daily notes, write it up, boom, get credit for it. Okay? So, hopefully you find that helpful and fair. Okay, so the final day to apply for changes to your grading preference is 4/22. That's not just for this class, that's for every class at the university. I've talked about this several times, both during the lectures and during emails. And I linked in the last email that I sent out, or one of the emails that I sent out today, I linked this here, and I'll just go over this again really briefly for you. But this is a Q&A, an FAQ, I guess, about a lot of these grade changes. And they tell you most of the stuff that I already told you, but you can just kind of see it here in writing for them. So the new late drop date to drop with a W is April 22nd. Now remember, a W means withdraw. Okay, usually it's after 40 days in the semester, so typically it would have been at the end of March was a W, but because of the COVID stuff, then they are extending that till April 22nd, okay? So remember, a W means that when someone reads the transcript that you withdrew from the class, okay? They don't know anything about your grade. It doesn't matter if you have a 0 in the course, you can take a W, okay? They used to do a withdraw passing and a withdraw failing. They did away with that. Okay, so that does not exist anymore. That's for, you know, old dinosaurs like me when I went here a million years ago. So you can have a 0 in a class, any class, your calculus class, your chemistry class, your engineering class, whatever class it is that maybe you fell behind, you got a 0 in it, or, you know, there's no way you're going to be able to pass it. Or you just don't want to put in the work to pass it because you're just overworked, overstressed, and you're like, just forget it. I'm just going to retake it and take a W. You don't get any credit for it, but nobody knows you were failing it. Okay, so that's the important thing. It does not show up. Versus if you take an NC in this class or other classes that allow an NC, which is pretty much any class now, you can do SNC. They know that you got no credit in the course. Okay, so they know that that's at least lower than a C, right? That you got a D or an F in the course. Okay, now but it doesn't count against your GPA if you get an NC, but they can see it on your transcript. Now, if you're applying to grad school or if you're applying for a job, is every employer, you know, going to pour over every single class and see that, oh, you know, she got an NC right here or he got an NC, I guess we're not going to hire them? No, realistically, they're probably not. But if it is something that is super competitive, you know, maybe. You know, if it's one of those borderline cases, they might ask you about it in the interview and just kind of, and you could probably say, well, that was during the coronavirus outbreak and I was, you know, distracted. I had too much stuff going on at home. I was taking care of my siblings, or I had to work, you know, I had to pick up an extra job to help, you know, pay the mortgage or something like that. You know, you could probably talk your way out of it, but you could also just take a W, and then that just says that you just withdrew. That doesn't affect your GPA either, and they don't know if you were failing it to begin with. Okay? So that's the beauty of the W if you have to take it. Now remember, they don't spell it out here, and I really wish they would tell you this. So you need to ask your advisor, and I've, you know, mentioned this several times throughout the semester, but a W, I believe, last time I was an academic advisor, now that was many years ago, but I believe that does not count as attempted hours, so that could affect your status as a full-time student, which could affect a lot of stuff, most notably loans and scholarships, but it could affect other things as well, potentially. They may have changed that over the years. They don't tell you that in this FAQ, so be sure you ask. But that would be the only reason to not take a W if you're failing, is if that will drop you below full-time status, and if that could affect your financial aid. That's the biggest thing. So make sure you're talking with your advisor. I'm sure they're going to be super busy tomorrow, so make sure you start hitting them up early in the morning and just asking as much as you can, if you haven't asked already. But that is an option, not only for this class, but for other classes. So if you're failing, and you get a good answer from your advisor, they say it's not going to affect your financial aid and all that stuff, I would consider doing it. Now they are giving you fifth and sixth drops, so you can get up to 6 W's throughout your academic career now. Yeah, it's saying you should always. Now, I don't like how they use the term drop because it's not dropping. A class drop at the very beginning of the semester has no repercussions whatsoever. It does not show up on your transcript anywhere. A W is not a drop, it's a withdrawal, and it does show up on your transcript. So I don't like their phrasing there. But, anyways, it's a little misleading. But, anyways, the last day to withdraw is that day. Be sure to talk, in advance. Okay, they do say it. They do say it. And the way that it says it right here, it looks like it does affect your status. And it's 12 hours still. So it's still old school. It's still 12 hours. I thought they bumped it up to 15. But it's still a minimum of 12 hours, okay? So if you drop below 12 hours, if you withdraw from a class, it takes you out and drops you. It doesn't count as attempted hours. So that could affect your financial aid. So good. I'm glad they're telling you this. Because a lot of students aren't going to have professors that explain this to you like I do. So they could be really confusing. Okay. All right. So if it's going to drop you below full-time status, you might just have to take the NC in a class that you're failing. But unfortunately, a lot of people that are going to get an NC in this class, they aren't going to watch this lecture. They aren't going to get the memo that they could have had a W potentially. So I'm probably preaching to the choir here. People that are already relatively high performing, but that is something to keep in mind. Okay, so that's it for that. Academic dismissal, if that applies to you, you won't be dismissed if your grades were low. If you don't know what that is, you talk to an advisor. I think if your grades are below a certain threshold 2 consecutive semesters, then you're at risk of being dismissed from the university. But you got to talk with an academic advisor about that, because I don't remember all the details of that. I didn't work with those a lot when I was an advisor. Okay, satisfactory, no credit. So we already have ABC, no credit in English. You can turn that into an SNC. So this is useful if you're going to get a C in this course, or you think you're probably going to get a C and you're not going to be able to bump your grade up. You can still bump your grade up, I promise you. If you're not in massive absence trouble, you can still move your grade up through revisions, through doing daily writings. Just talk with me about it. If you have a C and you're not in trouble with, absences and stuff like that, I promise you we can get you over a C. But, if you're sticking around at a C or in another class that offers it, highly consider taking the SNC, okay? Because this is the same concept as a withdrawal, right? They don't know what your grade is. You have to have at least a C to do this one, but they just know that you passed it. So no one's going to ask about that. It's like, okay, satisfactory, no problem. Now, if this is for a major class, which doesn't apply to most people in here probably right now, that might be a problem. So if you're wanting to go to med school and you took an S in organic chemistry, they might ask you about that. But, for a lot of freshman type of classes, no one's going to care. It's all about what you do in your major most of the time and other high-end classes. So anyways, consider taking the SNC if you have a C in a class. Or I guess if you're, if you think you're going to be a straight A student and you have a B or a B minus or something, I guess you could do it also. But basically, if your grade is significantly below what you think your average GPA is going to be, then I would probably take an S. You have to change that by the 22nd as well. That's tomorrow. You got to get all of that done by tomorrow. Now, I'm not sure the deadline on that. It's probably 4 or 5 p.m., but it might be midnight. I don't know. You need to ask though, because it doesn't have a specific time. But get on it. Start calling people in the morning if you want to take advantage of some of this stuff. And I think SNC does count as attempted hours though. That's another thing that's different from withdrawal. So it does count as attempted hours. And if you get an NC in a class, that also counts as attempted hours, even though you have to take it again. Okay, doesn't affect scholarships. I think that's it. I read this over, and I think I told you guys what was most important, but now if you're close to a 70 or something, because our department, like a C minus doesn't count, but I'm not a monster. Once again, if you're close, if you're like high 60s or 70s, just email me. We can get you to a passing range. Okay, you just do a few extra daily writings for me, or just spruce up a couple of paragraphs in one of your essays. We can find a few points for you. Okay, so don't freak out if you're too low, but make sure that you do something about it. Okay. Can I SNC a class if I'm repeating a class that has A, B, C, and C? Yes. Okay, so you can. All right, so that's the FAQ. If you have any questions for me in the chat, just let me know. I know we only have like 4 concurrent viewers. That's actually pretty good. I think last time we only had 2. So maybe it's the time of day. More people are able to make it this time. I don't know. Okay. So I just wanted to give you guys the lowdown on that. I've been explaining a lot of this, but that's the official document from the provost, who is basically the president of the university. The official policies. So I linked that in the email and just went over it with you. Okay, conferences. If you did not attend a P5 conference, I was happy because a lot of people did end up signing up at the last minute. Like on Tuesday, there were like 5 people signed up, but just everybody signed up like Tuesday night and Wednesday. So everybody's just kind of waiting until the last minute, which is fine. But we did get most people that I believe are still intending to pass the class did end up showing up, so that's very good. If you were not able to make it, now there were a couple of time conflicts where I got the scheduling turned around, and I emailed you if that happened. And if that's you, then you counted. I emailed, told you that it counts as you being there. If you still want commentary, you still want help though, just let me know. I can still conference with you. I can still give you help, but I gave you credit. If if I missed our appointment or whatever, and you weren't able to reschedule because of my scheduling goof up there, for that brief window on Wednesday, then like I said, you got credit for it. But if you want help, then you can just let me know. Okay, anyone else that missed it, and I never do this, but because of extenuating circumstances, and I just really want people to pass, if you did miss it and you're still interested in conferencing and getting credit for it, you want the attendance points for it and all that stuff, just email me and I will set up a time this week. Okay, so just whenever, just whenever. Basically this week, I can probably make time. So just email me. We'll figure it out. I'm trying to be as flexible as I possibly can, letting you do it a week late. I just want to get you the feedback, and I want to be able to give you credit for being there, okay? Because I have to, if you're not there, it has to be an absence. And I know a lot of people are going to be hit by these absences. So, speaking of which, I went ahead and decided, now I didn't write this on the official notes here, but in the grade emails that I sent out, I went ahead and decided to forgive an absence for everybody. Okay, so this would probably be frowned upon by the department, but whatever. There's so many people that are just in trouble with the absences and the virus stuff going around. I just feel like that's fair. That's reasonable. So I'm giving everybody 1 absence on the house for free, and this is helping a lot of people that are on the border. Trust me, because if you have 4 absences or more, it's minus 3%. And that's the lightest the department will allow me to do for attendance. They're serious about attendance. So that's basically a 3% curve for a lot of people that need it the most. That's like a third of a letter grade free. And if you had 2 absences and that drops you down to 1, then you get that 1% bonus point. Remember, if you have 0 or 1 absence, then you end up getting 1% added to your final average. So that's really handy as well. So I went ahead, gave everybody the absence. 1 forgiven absence, so that's the most I can do. I wish I could just sweep all the absence penalties away given the circumstances, but we can't do that. They sent out an email that specifically said we can't do that. We have to track attendance for every class, one way or another. Some professors, you got to log in to the actual Zoom meeting, and they do an attendance check, and if you're not there, you're absent. I'm trying to let y'all log in literally anytime. You could still log in if you missed the April 26th or March 26th when all this started. You can still log in, do the daily writing, and I will count you as attending that, even though it's like a month later. Okay, so you can still go back and do all that stuff, get the daily writing credit, get the attendance. So I'm trying to make it as flexible, as chill, and as helpful as I possibly can. Okay, but I can't give it to you for free. If you're not writing the daily writing, I can't prove it. If the department asks me about attendance, I can't prove it that you were there. So, you know, help me help you, you know, just go back, especially, you know, the online lecture stuff. Go back and get those attendances, because you can have perfect attendance if you just do the daily writings. But you know, once again, I can't do it for you. All I can do is make it as chill as I possibly can be. And remember also, you know, I got rid of all homeworks, and there's no homeworks that are due. Um, you know, it's just a very simple daily writing. You just go through. I mean, I hope people are watching the lecture. I know not everyone does, but honestly, and I'm sure y'all know this, you can probably just go into the notes, not even watch the video lecture, and just, you know, write half a page about the questions at the bottom. I know there are people that do that. Okay? So, once again, you know, I wish you'd watch the lecture. I'm trying to help y'all succeed on this last project, but by golly, even people that I know that are doing that, I'm still giving you credit for it if you're just doing the writing, okay? And as you know, with the textbook, it's been ultra chill the entire semester. There were some readings. There's no pop quizzes. You know, I know a lot of people don't do the readings. It does help you out if you do the readings. It reinforces what we talk about in class, and the people that do the readings usually do very well in the class. But, you know, no pop quizzes, didn't give you guys extra readings, didn't assign any extra books. You know, we just basically got dumpstered off of the virus, because the last unit was supposed to be, you know, learning how to do interviews, interactive activities, presentations, group work, all this stuff that's basically impossible with a virus, right? And I had 1 week to reschedule everything. And so I just decided to go with something that was super practical, that's like, you know, a third of the work that you would have been doing if we had actually been there. So I've dialed back the work as much as I can, because I know all of your classes are really crazy too. So once again, doing everything I can to help you guys out. Okay. Yeah, make sure you turn in that P4 if you haven't already. Like I said last time, I'm going to waive a lot of the late penalties on that. So if I accidentally forgot to waive a late penalty, if I gave you like a 5 or 10 point penalty on P4, just email me and remind me of that, and I'll take that off. I think I've been pretty good about remembering not to apply the late penalty on that, but when I was, you know, going through these late last night, I may have forgotten about that on a couple of them. I think I got them all, but just double check that. Now, that does not apply to you know, earlier stuff, right? Pre-virus stuff, the P3, P2, P1. There's a penalty for being late, but it's not. It's still manageable. You can still pass if you turn it in. Okay, just make sure you submit those daily writings. You can do any of the daily writings once again. Just talked about all of that. Deadline. Okay, Thursday is the last day of class, so let's pull up the syllabus here. So Thursday is our last day. Try to show up for this, or at least do watch the replay of it if you can't make it live. And I'm just going to sort of recap everything that I hope people learned in the class. I'll give you guys a little daily writing activity where you just talk about, what did you find most effective, what was most confusing, you know, do you have any advice or things that you would like to see me do more of, or explain better, or condense, or, you know, just what do you want, you know, what is your feedback, how do you think I could improve the course, what did you find most helpful? So that's what we'll be doing the last day of class pretty much. So I'll just help you remember everything we've learned, suggest ways you can apply it to your life, and then I'll give you a chance to just write a quick daily writing, and then I'll also show you how to write an evaluation, and you can write those evaluations sometime over the next 3 or 4 days. I doubt there's going to be a ton of participation on that, but evaluations do help out a lot, right? It kind of lets the department know, you know, which teaching styles students prefer, and just really allows the professor to get a little bit of feedback as well, and kind of compare sort of statistically how we stack up to other people in the department. You know, then we can say, wow, that person has great evals, or whatever. You know, if we figure out somebody else has really good evals, and we can ask them, we can say, hey, what are you doing? Why do your students love you so much? What kind of tips can you give me? You know, stuff like that. So it does help out. So it'll be basically, I'll just have you write an in-house, what do you suggest for improvements of the class? Obviously, I'm going to be able to read those and know who you are, but then you can also do the anonymous evals, just to put some input there about, you know, what did you find useful in the class? What were some opportunities for improvement? Stuff like that. Okay, and then everything else. Now, I said 5-4. I thought it was the first. It's the first. I don't know. I was confused about that date. But yeah, 5-1 is when it's due. So Friday, 5-1. So sorry about that. I messed that date up. Yeah, 5-1 by midnight. 5-4 is when my grades are due on Monday. Okay, so basically the daily writings over the last couple of lectures, they are similar. They are similar. And the reason for that is a lot of people aren't doing them. So basically I'm adding on a little bit, but then I'm still leaving the stuff on from previously in case people have missed it. I mean, there are very, very few people that have a rough draft, that submitted a rough draft before the conference, or have even done one 5 days after the conferences. There's like, I probably count them on one hand for both classes. Almost nobody has a rough draft, okay? So that's why I'm just kind of leaving that on there so that if you're at this point where you still don't have proper nouns, you can go ahead and write about this if you want to, or if you were if you just skip the last couple lectures, you can do that. And then this one, this is basically the same thing. I was going to talk a little bit more about the strategy section. But yeah, you can write a little bit more. I mean, most people have not written an outline as part of it. So if you haven't done the outline, you can do that. So yeah, it is very similar. So just hopefully you're progressing your thoughts over time. So that's just my attempt to, let people kind of stay in the loop if they've missed the last couple of lectures. But okay. So yeah, that is pretty much going to be the same deal again. Now, the one thing, if you're preparing your rough draft, a lot of people were still asking about structure. You need to have the proper nouns. We talked about that a lot. Make sure you're applying to a very specific place. Make sure you are mentioning specific people that either work there or that are very important in the field. We went over the structure a lot last class. And as far as the strategy section goes, just try to follow this formula. I think this will be super helpful for a lot of people. So you just want to do an overview of the discourse community for your field. So what's hot, what's going on right now in your field, what are the people that you're writing to, what are they going to expect you to talk about? And we gave plenty of examples of that in the last lecture. So if you haven't done that yet, do that. Overview of recent innovation in the field. Okay, so what's something new, what's something disruptive, what's different that's going on in the field right now. Analysis of your organization selection. Okay, so why did you choose this specific organization? Why do you think that's going to be the best fit for you? How does it compare to other organizations out there? So why are you specifically trying to go to this one organization compared to the other ones? And why do you think you're going to be successful there? And then why do you think the organization is going to choose you? So how are you marketing to them? How are you showing them that you're not only going to, be competent and be able to do your job, but you're going to excel, right, at this organization? You're going to bring some great, insights and innovation to their organization. Okay? And then think about any sorts of challenges. So what's going to be tricky about getting this organization? Hey, Paul. Good question. Yeah, you have to do the daily writing. Just write something for each day. Right? So, because I have no idea if you attended it, I don't have a record of it unless you do the daily writing. So, if you missed it, if you attended it, it doesn't matter. Just do the daily writing, and then that gives you credit for your attendance. So yeah, it's basically just like class, right? Like every day in class, we did a little bit of in-class writing. I'd give you like 15 minutes or so to do some in-class writing. And so it's trying to emulate that just so that you do some writing. And it is a writing intensive course. It's all about learning how to write better, learning how to organize our thoughts and stuff like that. And in exchange for that, remember, we don't have quizzes, we don't have tests. The reading is minimal. Some people don't even do any of the reading out of the book. So in exchange for all of that, we do a little bit of daily writing every time. And I did get rid of all the homeworks too that were coming out. Yeah, great question though. So yeah, make sure you're doing the daily writings, pretty much always. So even if you missed it, you can still go back and do it. I think it's pretty reasonable. I think it's fair. And I've dropped it down to even like half a page. It doesn't even have to be a whole page. So just answer some of these questions, right? And so like Jeff said, I am putting up a lot of the same questions. Last time, I think we added in this recommended letter structure, recommended strategy section. Hey, thanks, Theodore. I appreciate it. Thanks, Teddy. So yeah, because I know a lot of y'all are behind, and that's okay. I understand you got a bunch of other crazy classes. Some professors are, hitting you hard down the stretch with a bunch of things. So, if you don't have the proper nouns and stuff yet, you can still just write about this for half a page if you want. If you've got that done, you can write about life in the field if you want to think about that a little bit. And if you've got all of that done, you can start working on your rough draft if you don't already have one and just answer some of these questions. If you already have everything done, just write a little bit about some of this strategy section a bit more. Very, very few people are going to have anything done on the strategy section. The few people that do have a rough draft, it was mostly just the letter. So yeah, it's basically just kind of a chill day where I'm just going to let y'all, catch up a little bit, just write some more of these questions to help you develop your ideas, get that rough draft completed if you don't have it done yet. You can still turn it in. But that's pretty much all, for today. I was just going to give you a chance just to kind of catch up. And most of it was just walking you through a lot of these logistical changes that are coming down the line here, just to let you know, what you should be thinking about before tomorrow if you want to think about getting your satisfactory no credit or W's, or how you want to proceed. Okay, so that's pretty much all I have for today. I said it'd be a little bit quicker. I said 20 minutes. That's almost impossible for me. I just can't talk in 20 minutes, but if y'all don't have any other questions, I'll just, go ahead and end it here, and y'all can just get to it and write it. And remember, like I said, you can go back, watch anything that you missed, do the daily writings. You can do daily writings from back in January if you want, and I'll still give you credit for it. So if you're not sure what you're missing and you do want to make up some of those daily writings, just shoot me an email, and over the next day or two, I should be able to get you a list. Depending on how many people send me those emails, I should be able to hunt all that down and give you a list of what you're missing. Okay, so I was asked if there's any other questions. If there's not, I'll just let y'all get on with your day. We'll cap it at like 40 minutes. So yeah, just make sure that you're getting this done. Look at the examples too. Go back, check out the lecture. I think the last lecture we went over, my letter as an example, and I really walked you through a lot of details about that. And then there is the student example as well that's in the folder. And I'll see if I meant to find a couple of those over the weekend, but I just forgot. I got lost in the shuffle. So I'll see if I can find a couple more student examples too, make them anonymous and throw them in there, and maybe just mention them next class. Okay, well, I think that's going to be it. So thank y'all very much. Once again, if I didn't send out your grade report, I should have that for you here in the next 30 minutes to an hour or so. Just calculating those up. Like I said, I still need to put a few comments on the P4 final drafts. I'll do those over the next couple of days. If you really want to hammer out a revision, like super fast before finals and stuff like that on those, just let me know and I'll throw it to the top of the pile. But otherwise, I'll sort through those comments and get those back to you over the next couple of days. But you should have your grade and your grade report, if you don't have it already, within the next hour or so. But anyways, okay, that's going to be it. Thank y'all very much. Be sure to show up Tuesday for a little bit. It will be a little bit of I'll make it kind of a shorter session like this one, maybe 30, 40 minutes or so. We'll just recap everything from the semester. I'll, give you some more tips on how you can apply that to your academic career and your life a little bit more. And then I'll give you some time to write a little reflection of the course, and we'll call it a semester, other than, turning in all of the stuff after finals week. But that'll be our last lecture. So thank y'all very much. Hope the rest of your classes are going well. Hope you're staying safe out there. Good luck with those classes.